Okay, so now finally we have built the entire web application, API, Gradio service, Streamlit service, and we have also maintained the proper project structure. Now it's time to push entire code to the GitHub repository, and after that we will deploy entire GitHub repository to cloud server. And over there, once we deploy the entire machine learning model on cloud, which is AWS, then everyone can access this particular website using cloud service. So let's see how you can set up the GitHub and push the code to the GitHub repository. So first thing you need to have is Git install on your machine. So you can verify that using this terminal. So open the terminal and type Git to check whether it is installed on your machine or not. So you can type git and click on enter. If you get a message something like Git is not recognized as an internal and external command, that means there is an issue with your Git, or maybe you have not installed. So if you get something like this, that means your Git is installed properly. Now, if you are facing such kind of issue, Git is not recognized, then you need to download the Git. So you can go to Google Chrome, type Git download. So Git is a software, GitHub is a website. So we will use Git software to push the entire code to the GitHub website. So let's click on this link and select your operating system and download the Git software. You need to select this 64-bit Git for Windows setup. Don't select the portable version because that will be installed inside the pen drive. So you can use 64-bit Git for Windows setup. Once you click on this, you can get this .exe file. You can save that file, and once the file is saved and file is downloaded properly, you can click on next. There is nothing to change inside the GitHub installation. So you can just simply click on next and then restart your computer, or maybe you can restart your terminal as well. Okay, so once you install the Git, close this terminal, open the CMD again and type Git. So once you install properly, you can able to see this particular messages. That means your GitHub is properly installed. So the first thing you need to do is setting up your username and email ID. That is the first command that you need to set while working with GitHub. What you can do is, I have already copied the command that you need to use. So this is the command that you need to set while working with GitHub for the first time. So inside this git config, you need to set your username, because GitHub needs to authenticate which user is posting the code to the repository. So in the global config keyword, we will use user.name, and inside this here you need to write your name. But this name should be your GitHub username, not the random name. And then git config global user email and then email ID. So let me open my GitHub first. So you can directly go to github.com. If you haven't created the GitHub account, you can create a new fresh GitHub account, create a proper profile. So let me go to my profile first. So to push the code to GitHub repository, you need to have your GitHub account. So you can create your own GitHub account like this way, and then you need to select your username. So here you can see Devdatta95 is my username for my GitHub. So what you can do is, inside this command, you can change my name to your GitHub username, Devdatta95, and then email will be your email ID which you are using to log in on GitHub. So that will be my email ID .ds@gmail.com. So you need to create this two command first. Once this is done, you can just copy this particular command, open any terminal, paste this command and click on enter. Then again this email ID is done. Like once you create this email ID and create a git config command, open the terminal paste it and create enter. So this is the first step while working with GitHub. You don't have to repeat this step again and again. Okay. So once you set up your proper GitHub account, now you are ready to push the code to the GitHub repository. So I will show you the easy way to push the code to GitHub repository. But before pushing your code, you need to create a GitHub repository. So here you can click on new, create new, and click on new repository. Now you need to fill few details. First you need to mention the repository name. So repository name will be sleep disorder prediction and with inference with app. That's it. So you can add any name to your application. Okay, so this is my GitHub repository name, sleep disorder prediction with app. Then here you can write description. Description is totally optional. Here I will write, so this project is used to predict the sleep disorder using machine learning techniques. In this project, we have built Gradio app, then Streamlit app, Flask API, and Flask web app. That's it. Now this description is totally optional. You can skip it. The next part is public or private. So this is just a simple option. Like on Google Drive, you create one folder, then you can select whom to see that particular folder. So public means all the people on the GitHub repository, all the people on the GitHub can see your code. Or else if you click on private, then no one can see the entire repository, only you can see that. So as of now, just select public, don't change anything. README file we have already created, so no need to create it again. And then yeah, that's it. So you just have to type name. Description is also optional, so just one thing, and rest of the menu keep it as it is. And then click on create repository. Okay, now the repository is created, but there is no code that we have added on this repository till now. So you need to copy all this command. So we are going to use this command to push the code on your GitHub repo. So let me go to Notepad again. So this is the command that we need to use. So README is already present. So let's remove this particular part. We don't require this. Now only two changes you need to do. You need to use git init for the first time, and then git add. Instead of readme.md, you can just type git add dot. So if you copy all the command one by one on the terminal where your entire project is located, then you can able to push your entire code to the GitHub repository. So I will show you that. I will just copy this command and let's open PyCharm and let's open readme.md file. So here I am just pasting all the commands just for the reference only. Later on I will delete all the commands. Let's open terminal. Now see, sleep disorder deployment is my main parent folder. So this is the main folder, and inside this folder all the files are present. So this IP YNB checkpoints are also present. So you can go to your main folder structure, and from there you can delete all those folders which are not required. For example, .idea, .pycatch, and then .ip checkpoints. Let's delete this because we are going to push the entire code and all the files to the GitHub repository. So it's better to clear all the unrequired files. Now you need to run this git init code or command inside this folder only, sleep disorder. Then only it will track and push all the code files to the repository that we have created. So let's copy the first command. This location is very important where you are running this git init. So as soon as you run git init, this entire repository will be initialized as a git repository. Here you can see all the files are in red color. Okay, that means this particular files are not added to the git repository yet. So let's add those files. So git add dot, copy this command, paste it here, click on enter. Okay, now here we got one warning, LF will be replaced by CRLF. Okay, we don't need to worry about that thing. Now let's add git commit. This first commit will be anything, it's just a message. So we have added all the files. Let's commit those files. So these are the files that we are going to commit, and we will commit this file to the main branch. So let's copy this file, copy this command, click on enter. And now let's mention the git repository. So this is the git repository. Let's copy this file, click on this part and enter. Now last command, git push -u origin main. So once you run this command, it will push your entire code to that repository. But for the first time, it will give you one pop-up to verify the user ID and password. But I have already did that. So in my case, it won't be visible. But as soon as you run this command, you will get one window to authorize the user. So you need to go to that particular window, click on authorize, enter your password. So GitHub will authorize you for the first time, and it's just a one-time process. So I will type push u origin main. In my case, there is no authorization process required because I have already did that. So once I click on this, here you can see this kind of messages, and once you authorize, you can able to see this kind of messages. So we have successfully pushed entire code to the GitHub repository. And how we can identify that? Just minimize, go to the repository, this is the repository, and just click on refresh button. So as soon as this thing gets refreshed, here you can see all the code we have pushed 1 minute ago, like model, static, template folder, app.py, and then our readme.md file, overview, problem statement, everything will be present inside this GitHub folder. Now let's say if you want this particular project on your machine, you can go to my repository, like you can go to my profile. How you can do that? You can search on your search bar, like you just have to type the username Devdatta95 and search all of GitHub. Then here you won't get any response. But if you see on the left side, you need to select the user, filter by user. And here you can see my profile. Once you go to this profile, and then you need to go to repositories. And here you can see sleep disorder prediction with app. And if you click here, you will get the entire code. So everyone can see this particular repositories. Now let's say if you want this particular code, you can click on code and download zip. So it will download entire code in zip format. Or let's say if you want this code using GitHub only, like cloning, you can just copy this particular URL, or you can just copy this HTTPS thing. Let's open the CMD, and here I will type git clone Ctrl+V, enter. So I showed you how to push the code and now how to clone the code. So here you can see if I go to Dev folder, so let's go to same Dev folder, this PC, C, user, Dev, and here you will see that particular repository, sleep disorder prediction with app, and all the files are present. So to commit your data or files to the GitHub repository, you need this particular line of code, which is this. But let's say if you want to download something or clone something, you just need to write this command, git clone and Control V, this entire GitHub repository name. So you can download the entire command. So using this way, you can push your entire code to the GitHub repository. But let's say if you are confused or you just have 1 or 2 files, then you can take that, you can upload that as well. So for example, I will create one more new repository, and this time I will just write a random name, test1, and just click on create repository. So let's say if you have 2 to 3 files, then you can just click on upload an existing file. So using drag and drop, you can upload those files. See, I want to upload app config flask, this file. So just select all the files and drag all the files to this particular portion. Okay, it will not accept folder, only file. Now drag everything and paste it here. So you can see it is uploading 3 to 4 files, and then click on commit changes. So now I have created another repository with test1 and all the files has been uploaded. So if you have multiple files and the files are present inside the folder, then I will highly recommend to use this command. Okay, you will get it once you create a repository. But if you want to upload 1 or 2 files, then you can just go to upload option, and from there you can just drag and drop all the files. So now I will delete this particular repository because this is just for the testing purpose. So I will go to this part, settings, delete this repository, and here I need to type the repository name and click on delete this repository. So the repository is deleted, and this is the repository we can use for the final deployment. So now we have 2 options. Either we can deploy the entire GitHub repository on the cloud, or else we can push the code to the cloud so that we can deploy the model over there. So that we will see in the next part, how you can create a AWS instance and you can push your entire code to the cloud server. So that is related to, this is related to all the GitHub